Hello and welcome back to Rock Cycle, now featuring a post-lockdown haircut. Anyway, today, I guess you already know, you've seen the title of the video, you've seen the thumbnail, you probably searched it up. We're looking at the Reading and Leeds lineup announcement that's just come out this morning, and all the new names that have been added to it. I'm just going to go through some of my thoughts on it, have a bit of a chat about it, and then let me know down in the comments what do you think about the festival lineup this year. Because I've seen so far, I've had a bit of a look around, like on Twitter, Reddit and a few other places. Some fairly mixed responses so far. Personally, myself and quite a lot of other people do really like it, but I've seen a lot of people not being that happy with it, but I think it's just what happens every year. You could have an amazing lineup and people will always find something to complain about. So anyway, onto the actual lineup. I've got it here in front of me. I should hopefully have it up here for you to look at too. But, well, firstly what I want to say is I'm not as much of a fan of this way of announcing the lineup that they started doing this past couple of years, where you get all your headliners in one go early on. Like, yeah, you get a lot of people really excited then on the early announcement. But then when you get to these announcements like a few months later, there's just not as much to talk about really. So I don't know why they're doing that. Maybe it's much better for business reasons that all they release all the headliners at once and everyone goes and buys all the tickets straight away rather than gradually building it up and up. So we're not, well, obviously we haven't got that like massive names being added to this because we have all the headliners. But given the spots they have, I think we've got some surprisingly big names that have been added to the festival so far that we'll go through and talk about a couple of them. They've added like about, I guess like 100 acts or about that to this lineup, so we're not going to be talking about everyone today. But I do think so far, like, this is really the meat of the lineup. They really filled it out, and I think it is, in my opinion, decent, like personally for what I like and from, I guess, like a general perspective of what's good for the festival. I do think they do have a bit of something for everyone there, so it should hopefully please a lot of people, at least people who are into seeing different things. If you're someone who's going only for the rock music, like I know quite a few people do, you're going to be a bit disappointed this year, like I know you've been disappointed these past few years. I'm also quite happy with this lineup because the last video I made on the channel was making predictions about who's going to be added to the lineup, and I got 7 out of 10 of them right, so I'm fairly happy with that. It is also worth noticing that a few acts have left the lineup. They sneakily announced that, like in the small print on the website. They didn't make any big official statement like that. Most notably being Doja Cat and DaBaby, but also Charlie XCX and 100 Gex. I think it's a bit of a shame that those left, because those are some of the bigger names that were on the lineup that weren't headliners before, especially Doja Cat. A lot of people are quite annoyed that she's gone. And if not really, like some of the other ones, they've got similar-ish people in to replace them, I guess, but no one quite like Doja Cat on there, so I know a lot of people are disappointed. We also had not Sam Fender, he's just been added to it, but he's kind of replaced, who also left, Lewis Capaldi, who that was announced a while ago, and they were a lot more public with him leaving the lineup. I think that's better. I think he should be a lot more open and honest when people are leaving the lineup, especially like the big names like Lewis Capaldi and Doja Cat, because some people are going to want to refund their tickets when they've bought their ticket pretty much purely for that person, and now they're gone. I've also seen a few strange things going on this year. They've really changed up the way they do the stages compared to how I've done in the past. Basically this year we got the 2 main stages and then just 3 small stages. So that's 6 stages, wait, no, it's 5 stages this year. Usually we have 7 stages, and it's the 7, I'm not sure if that's including the BBC introducing one or not, but that's not really a proper stage anyway. Like I was seeing, like over the days, one stage is becoming the Festival Republic stage, the pit stage and the lockup. Now, to be fair, those stages were the smallest ones, and if you're someone who was going purely for those stages, like you only like the music being played on those stages, you are going to be pretty disappointed with this. Firstly, I think they have sort of spread out the kind of people who would be playing on those stages onto the other stages. But again, I think it's a bit of a shame. I think one of the best things about Reading and Leeds Festival is the variety, and this year they have just cut down a bit on that, so it's a bit of a shame. And it's also a bit weird looking through this lineup. The 2 main stages every day, I think, are amazing. You've got solid acts from start to finish on the main stages, like they look really good. But the 3 smaller stages do feel a bit neglected. There's not as much star power, it's not as many big people on them, and they feel a bit odd. Like particularly like the dance stage, like there's not really like any big names been added to there this year. Well, you got like Mark Kitchen or MK, that's alright. But really, besides that, there's not too many other big names. You've also got quite a few odd additions to the dance stage, like Kenny Hoopla and Oliver Tree. So I don't know, well, yeah, we've lost the Radio 1 stage this year, which is a shame because that was one of my favourite stages. I think it had a really good atmosphere there. So I think they've kind of like stuck some people from the Radio 1 stage, well, who would have been playing there, onto the dance stage. And I think if you know Jack Webb, he does similar YouTube videos to me often, much better. But yeah, he's been talking about over the past few years, the dance stage is not really being a dance stage anymore. It's like only about half the acts, or even less than that, are really dance acts on there. They're sort of just shoving in a few random ones because they don't really belong anywhere else. And that's a bit odd. I think as well, the Radio 1 extra stage, to be honest, I don't know too much about that stage, but usually like there's a few on there I recognise. And this year there's a couple on there that I do recognise, but it's not that many. Maybe I'm just old boomer, out of touch, and I don't know too many of them, but I've seen that from other people that that stage in particular and the dance stage are being quite a bit of a letdown this year, even if the main stages are looking pretty good. So anyway, I'm just going to go through talk through some of the biggest additions to the festival, some ones I think are most exciting and to be added to them. I mean, I can't go for everyone. I'm going to go through these in the Leeds Festival order. So anyway, on the first day, we've got Wolf Alice added to the lineup. I think that's a great addition, the sort of grungy alternative indie rock band. Some rumours, people have been saying for a while that Wolf Alice deserved a headline. And personally, I think they're definitely good enough to headline. I don't know if they're big enough to headline. I think those are different questions. But I still think Third Down's quite a surprising place for them, especially on the stage split. I think they could easily sub-headline at least. Also added to the world, a second main stage that day, Machine Gun Kelly. I think he's going to put on a great live show. I know he's quite a diverse person. Some people love him, some people hate him. But I think he's quite interesting, and I think he fits in very well at Reading and Leeds, where you tend to have a bit of a split between the rock and the rap fans. It seems to be a bit of a rivalry sometimes between them. But I think he's someone who can sort of unite that, because he can play to both audiences, and maybe people can come together and realise we can just all enjoy music and get on, hopefully. Also got Denzel Curry added on that stage that day. I think he was meant to be headlining the Radio 1 extra stage on what would have been last year's festival, and now he's playing on the main stage, so that's kind of you could maybe view that as an upgrade for him, but he's playing pretty early on, so I don't know, maybe not as good. I think sometimes it's better to have people later on in the day. Someone like him I think would work better headlining a tent rather than playing early in the afternoon on the main stage, because you'll lose some of the atmosphere, because his shows do look pretty intense. You're not going to get that as much in the middle of the afternoon. Anyway, on to the next day. On the Stormzy on the main stage, we've got Declan McKenna added. Decent guy, he's a bit of a UK festival regular. He's all over the place, so he's not like that much of an exclusive or hard to see, but he's a very enjoyable musician. And well, I guess actually taking Lewis Capaldi's place as the special guest on that day is Nothing But Thieves. I do like their music. I do know they're quite controversial people, so I know some people aren't going to be happy about that with some of the stuff that came out about them over the past year. And I think even if you're going to ignore all that stuff, I think they're definitely a downgrade from Lewis Capaldi. They're nowhere near as big as him, and their third album that came out last year definitely did not do as well as you would expect for them. So I do think a bit of a downgrade. I think the second stage has seen much more of an improvement with the new names added on the Saturday, at least when you're going by the Leeds Festival days. You got Sam Fender, great addition, loads of people really happy with that. A lot of people being really annoyed that it wasn't included originally on the poster. I was quite surprised by that. I thought it'd be someone they'd want to get straight back on there, because he's really, I was going to say really blew up over the past year, but I guess that was probably 2 years ago now. H as well, another good addition, very popular guy. Lots of people are going to be happy to see him. Sports team Seagulls as well being added on the main stage that day. Some more great additions. Again, there's not too much more to discuss on the rest of the stages. It's all, I don't know, there's a few people I know. Well, Boston Manor on there. They're like decent acts, but there's no one that's you really go, oh my god, I'm so happy they're added to the festival for. Next day, the final day for Leeds, Reading and Leeds. I think this is the Friday for, no, it's the final day, the Sunday for Leeds. I'm pretty sure that means it's the Friday for Reading. Main stage, you've got the Kid Laroi added to, partly there because of TikTok and the influence of TikTok music. Well, how that's really helped, but he's a decent artist, pretty good to see him on the main stage. Third Down, to be fair, you could argue he could be sub-headlining perhaps with his amount of Spotify listeners. As well, on the other main stage, you got Slow Tie added, had a really good album out earlier this year. Lots of people, again, were really annoyed that he wasn't already confirmed for the festival, so it's good to have him on there now. And you've also got on that day, Fever 333 look like they're doing the same thing that Eno Shikari did at the last festival, where they're going to be playing early on midday on the main stage and then also doing a second set headlining the pit. So that'll be interesting. If you're a fan of them, you're going to be pretty happy to get 2 sets of theirs over the weekend. And then also you got Tiger headlining the one extra stage that day. I think he's pretty big to be playing in that small tent. Maybe this year when they've got less tents, he's going to get a bit of a bigger tent to play in, because the Radio 1 Extra 1 is pretty small compared to some of the bigger ones. So I do think, like, I'll probably miss some people out. I'm sure some people are going to be annoyed I've not spoken about their favourite that have been added to there, but I can't go through everyone. So I do think there's definitely some good names that have been added, some surprisingly big names, because I thought we'd already got all the big names, all the headliners and sub-headliners, and, like, well, I guess the third sub-headliner added to it. So I do think I'm personally quite happy with this. I do think there's something for everyone, but I am curious, what are your thoughts? Do you like this? Do you dislike it? Are you a bit in the middle? Because I don't know, festival lineups always provoke a great variety of responses from everyone, so I'm very curious to know, what do you think? And anyway, I think that's about everything at least covered for now. I am hoping to do a video looking at the lineup in a bit more detail within the next week or so, so if you're interested in that, stick around, subscribe, that would be really appreciated. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, the usual YouTube bullshit, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.